Hi, my name's Crystal, and I'm the Career Conversationalist. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited about some of the topics that we're going to discuss. And sorry, I am still learning this. I've changed the format of the show, and I thought I had everything down. I wanted to review the three big promises that I'm going to go over with you today. And it's one, how to handle the anxiety of paying for college. I'm sorry, how to handle the anxiety of paying for college debt, discover three ways to reduce your need for student loans, avoid the common mistake of all debt is bad debt, and learn three ways to manage fear so it does not manage you. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and just jump right in. Okay, so the first one is we're going to talk about government scholarship programs. And what this is they're pretty much grouped together by industry. And so, for example, we're going to talk about the Nurse Corps, which is provided to us by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and it's to help alleviate the critical shortage of nurses currently experienced by certain types of health facilities located within a health professional shortage area. And this is good news because it provides a lot of opportunities. And in such, you can, depending upon where you're at in life, this program, helps you either get a diploma, an associate, a bachelor, or a graduate. And the programs are for an RN, a BSN, an RN to MSN, MP, or direct MLE to an MSN NP. So I know sometimes people are like, oh, these programs, is it going to be a good fit for me? The opportunity with a program like this is there's a lot of room for you to grow. So regardless of what your entry point is, or even if you just want to take it to the next level, that could be a good opportunity for you. And one of the really good things about this program are the benefits. It helps cover the tuition, eligibility fees, other reasonable costs such as books, clinical supplies, instruments, and uniforms. And it also provides a monthly stipend of $1,316 for the 2015-2016 academic year. This is really nice because when you have to go to college and you have to work a lot, it can be really difficult to focus on what your courses are or to spend even the amount of time on your homework that you would like to. And I know since this is your major and if it's something you're really passionate about, you don't want to just do the homework to do the homework. You really, really want to understand it. Of course, some classes you want to do more excitedly or eagerly than others. But, I find for them, when you start taking the courses that relate to your major, you tend to want to spend a lot more time doing that. And a little bit of money can go a long ways, especially when it comes to living expenses. And for myself and just people I knew watching go through college, or I'm watching go through college right now, that's one of their biggest challenges is how do you survive living on something besides top ramen every day? And having a little bit of money can go a long way. So with a program like this, the things you need to be aware of is that it does have a 2-year service commitment. However, the nice thing is about all the different places that you can work. So I'm going to hold this card up while I read them because I don't have all 14 areas memorized. But for example, you can be you can work at an ambulatory surgical center, number 1. Number 2, you can work at a critical access hospital. Number 3, you can work at a disproportionate share hospital. 4, you can work at a federal qualified health center. 5, you can work at a home health agency. 6, you can work at a hospice program. 7, you can work at an Indian Health Service health center. 8, you can work at a Native Hawaiian health centers. 9, you can work at a non-disproportionate share hospital. 10, you can work at a nursing home. 11, you can work in a public hospital. 12, you can work in a rural health clinic. 13, you can work in a skilled nursing facility. And 14, you can work for the state or local public health or human services department. So with that being said, there's definitely a lot of opportunity. Personally, in my own opinion, I don't think 2 years is that much time, especially for the amount of help that they're willing to offer. If for some reason that's not something that's within your interest, but you're still interested in the medical field, since there is such a huge, there's a lot of different things you can do within the medical field. That's why I'm also going to share with you the National Health Service Corps. And I think this is important for you to realize, even if you're not interested in the medical field, is that oftentimes, when you say an industry like medical, it's so huge and big, you kind of have to break it down into smaller parts. And so this is one part of that bigger industry. And by hearing this information, it'll help you wonder about, well, what other opportunities are out there for other industries. So if you weren't interested in some of the previous things that I had mentioned, but you're still interested in the medical field, then you might also be interested in being a physician, a dentist, a nurse practitioner, a certified nurse midwife, a physician assistant, or a doctor or nursing practice. So this one provides a lot of the similar benefits, perhaps a little bit different. So that's why you definitely need to go check out the pages and read the details on this. Now on my blog page, I do have a resource section where I offer the links for the information that I'm sharing today. So I do encourage you to not only watch this video, but to go check out the blog post after this video is done. Another thing that a lot of students have told me that they're curious about is, okay, Crystal, I wanted that leadership, I wanted that mentorship, and it took me a while to get going, or, I didn't have it in the beginning, but now I see how valuable it is. I've been reaching out more and more. The challenge is I started school, or I'm getting ready to graduate school, and I have a lot of student debt already. So is there anything that I can do about that? And the answer is yes. There is something known as loan forgiveness, which is really nice. So again, it breaks it down into different industries, and the amounts vary, and how it's distributed varies. So for example, right now in our country, we have a really big need for teachers. And so if you're willing to work for up to 5 years within the stipulations, you can earn up to $17,000 and $17,500 in loan forgiveness off your student loans. It's off the total loan amount for any outstanding after the completion of the full 5th year of teaching service students from low-income families. So again, I know definitely there's a lot of talk going on about needing a workforce that could be competitive, especially within the math and science areas. So definitely, again, check out the blog. Look at if you're interested in becoming a teacher, look at the details. You can find that information also on studentaid.ed.gov to learn more. One of the reasons that I put this little icon graphic down here is because I think it does a good job of explaining where does the money come from. It comes from taxes. And so basically the government's taking money from everybody's paycheck who's working, and it's redistributing that money in forms that the government sees fit. So, it's one of those things where I'm grateful for it because I received a lot of money from the government to pay for my education. So when I look at paying taxes, I'm looking at it as I'm paying it forward to the next generation. And one of the things that happened to me was I was talking to someone after I had graduated college, and we were talking about like where I've been, how I got there. And this parent told me that, when he hears stories of me, like me, he heard my story, that it really, it made him happy to know that his taxes are being put to good use. So that kind of warms my heart, because I know there's a lot of negativity about our taxes being spent incorrectly. And so when something is being spent well and there is a positive outcome that is generating a return, I think it's important to pay it forward. So that's why I like that little icon. It also, I think, helps us to remind each other as a community to help the next generation. So that's why I really wanted to mention that. Also, again, going back, there's other industries that offer loan forgiveness. So again, the National Health Service Corps for 2 years will offer up to $50,000. And so it's really interesting because this organization offers scholarships on the front end. So if you're thinking about getting into it, you might not need to take out all those loans to begin with. But because they help you, regardless of kind of like where you are, there's a lot of different steps that you can enter the program. You know, you could, if you didn't get a chance to apply for the scholarships in the beginning, then there's something that you can do on the back end. So I think that's really awesome. Also, just another industry for a good example would be attorneys. Attorneys have the LRAPs, LARPs, Loan Repayment Assistance Programs, and the loan forgiveness for attorneys employed by government. The federal and state programs offer varying degrees of assistance. You can find additional information on the Bar Association's website. And when I think of this, I like to think of public defenders. You know, we live in a country where we have a justice system, and there are a lot of people who can't afford attorneys, and so they are given one. And oftentimes it can be really hard to attract enough public defenders. So this can be a good way to get a career started in law. I also think it's really good because it may open up your eyes to the different areas, and maybe you decide, you know, after 2 years that that's not for you. Maybe you want to go into private practice, or you want to go work for a larger firm or someone else. But I still think that experience is really good for you, just to open up your eyes as to how that industry works. So good opportunity. When I was on their website, I noticed that it's the General Bar Association, and then on their page they have listed all the other like bar associations for like that state. So it's really nice because you click on it. A lot of the links will take you directly to a page to get more information. Some of them just take you to the general homepage, so you still have to navigate further. So just a little FYI. Another option too is if you are still in school, or you're thinking about going to school, or you're thinking about moving on and getting your next degree, you might want to think about tuition reimbursement. So according to the website salary.com, tuition reimbursements are one of the most important and generous benefits, a contractual agreement between the employer and employee that outlines specific terms under which the employer may pay for the employee's continuing education. Benefits do vary by employer. So I did want to go ahead and do a screen share and show you some different opportunities. There's some really exciting ones out there. There's also some ones that are really difficult to find a lot of information on. So I kind of want to explain why that is. So I'm going to give you an example of 2 really good ones that are easy to find a lot of information. And then the third example is going to show you what's typical of what I commonly see out there. But I want to explain why some companies make it really easy for you to find information. And that's because they want to use it for PR reasons. So public relations are basically media outlets like radio, TV, newspapers, blog, web shows that talk about a company, and it's not paid advertising. And a lot of companies really, really like this because it's effective. It works, it tends to stick around longer, and it's more believable. It has a lot more credibility. You know, we live in an age where there's a lot of advertising, and so people are naturally just skeptical of all the advertisements of, oh, you paid to be in front of me. Or I have to listen to you because I can't watch the video until, you know, I watch so many seconds of this ad, or whatever it is. So news stories, I always think of it as news stories. People want to know what's going on within their community. They want positive news. Can this benefit me? Can it benefit someone I know? And so that's why they do it. So typically the companies that have a lot of coverage offer a really, really good program, and that's why it's easy to be picked up by the local and national media. The bigger the benefits are, the more people they offer it, the more likely the story is to go big, and then the more likely it is to benefit the company that offers it. So the companies that I picked, I tried to pick something that most of everyone watching, including you, would be able to identify. So the first one is UPS. So I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share and share with you a couple of pages just to kind of give you an overview. Okay, so this is the website, and I kind of blew it up a little bit large, but if you scroll down, you will see here it says UPS Tuition Assistance Program. And the goal is to assist employees in furthering their educational development. We are proud to offer the UPS Tuition Assistance Program, TAP, in an ongoing effort to recruit, retain, and develop qualified individuals. TAP ensures that UPS will continue to grow as a company, prosper as a company, and excel as a global service. In the United States, it does offer this service for part-time and full-time, which is awesome. And then just a little bit of statistics. In 2010, we provided $24 million in tuition support to approximately 14,000 students. Since the program began in 1999, we have invested $187 million in tuition assistance for approximately 113,000 college students. UPS also invests about $300 million a year on training programs to help employees further career within the company. I think that is incredibly awesome. One of the things that I really, really like about the company is it's in transportation, and you're talking logistics. And so I think it's interesting because I'm looking at trends and what's going to happen and what's going on, and I really, really like it. Like, yes, okay, I do realize, you know, there's a growing trend of drones delivering packages, and, you know, it could be, you know, someday soon you can, you know, get a pizza from a drone, dropping it off, or other retail items. And I think that's good, and I don't know if they're going to go in that direction or not, but I do think that transportation on a large scale is extremely important. So even as, you know, drones become more common in delivering goods, you're still going to need to deliver goods in large batches and quickly and on time. So, I mean, this could still have a lot of things to work out as far as the technicalities, stuff like that. But as far as UPS in general, anything that has to do with transportation, logistics, whether it's people, packages, goods, that's what makes our economy go round. Basically, it's the circulation of goods, which thereby creates a circulation of money, and that's how jobs are created. Money is spent, and yeah, I got a lot to say about that, but let's go ahead and move on to our next one. Oh, also, I do want to share with you the specifics on the website. I did just share with you the overview, but I did want to show you a page that breaks down the specifics right here. Here we go. So you can just kind of understand what to look for. So as you see in the top left corner, it says, welcome UPS employees. And the education that they partnered with is from the Thomas Edison State University, exclusively for adults. And as I scroll down the page, you can see that they have it broken down for part-time versus full-time employees. And one of the things that I think is really nice about this particular program is it breaks it down, so it tells you how much money per semester, annually, lifetime. I think that's really awesome that they're willing to invest that much per employee. Talks about money for textbooks, fees, and also the grade requirement. So, for example, you need a minimum grade requirement of a C- or above. I just think it's really, really nice how their program details this information up front. As you will see soon on that not all programs will do this. Okay, so moving on to the next one. The next one is Starbucks. Yay! Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share. They have a nice program. And again, they also provide a lot of really, really good information on their site. So I have 2 pages that I want to share with you. The first one is an overview page. So Starbucks College Achievement Plan. It's a nice little 2-minute video that I recommend you watch. And one of the things as I scroll down the page that I really like is a couple of things. One, it says, partners receive support from a dedicated team of coaches and advisors, 24/7 tutoring on a variety of subjects, and a choice of more than 50 undergraduate degrees through ASU's research-driven on top-ranked program delivered online. I think that's really, really important. Again, you know, things are changing really, really quickly. It's good to work for a company that acknowledges this. I think it's really awesome that it's 50 different degree programs. Certainly a lot of the tuition reimbursement programs, it has to be job related, either to your current job or to a position you might have in the future, because they want to grow you so you'll be there a long time. But Starbucks doesn't seem to have that stipulation. I haven't seen it anywhere on the websites as far as reading and checking it out. And it makes sense because of their unique ability to position themselves. And I look at it this way. You know, someone who drinks Starbucks, if you work there, you're likely to drink it. You're likely to know all about their products. At least I hope you do if you're working there. But when you do, you know, what's your lifetime value as a customer? If they help you pay for your education, you know, and you move up in the workforce, then you can be able to afford more Starbucks products. You know, as you move up in your career, you might continue to give Starbucks as gifts to other people. You might drink their coffee more. You might start drinking their juices more. You might start eating there more, giving their gifts away in terms of mugs. And you know, people support what they like. They support people and organizations that help them. So when you think about a regular person who might go in and drink Starbucks, they might not be drinking it that often. They might like the company. They might know the brand, but they're not the brand evangelist like, yes, Starbucks, let's go. You know, it's just a very different feeling. Like, oh, okay, yeah, there's Starbucks. Like, yeah, that sounds good. Let's go get a Frappuccino. But, you know, so when you think of that person who is like, yeah, I know Starbucks. Yeah, Frappuccino sounds good. From a company standpoint, they're probably, you know, they come in regularly, buy something. But the evangelist who's telling everybody, yeah, let's go, they're driving future purchases and they're helping the company to make a lot more money in the long run. So for Starbucks, yes, you know, they do want people to move up within their own company, you know, especially I'm sure when it comes to management and logistics and, you know, trying to merchandise everything within the store and retail operations and that stuff. Yeah, they want people to move up within their own company who absolutely love it. But at the same time, it makes sense as to why they're okay if someone wants to major in, say, nursing or some other major that doesn't absolutely relate to Starbucks. You know, they're still going to get a good return on their investment, not just from the humanitarian standpoint, but also from the monetary standpoint as well. So hope that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share of a page that details more information. So this is a like basic PDF file that they have on their website. It's a 3-page, kind of answers some things quickly and nicely. And I know sometimes people are concerned about, well, if it's an online university, not all online universities have great reputations. So how good is the reputation? And because, you know, companies like Starbucks have a great reputation and they want to maintain that, they're also going to look to partner with other people or other institutions that also have a really good reputation as well. So I like this question about why did Starbucks choose Arizona State University? So it's this question right here. And it says, we have spent considerable time looking for the right collaboration for our partners. Arizona State University's missions, values, and brand are a good match to our own. Arizona State is the only university that could stand side by side with Starbucks to offer high quality education at scale to all of our U.S. partners. Plus, ASU is ranked the second most innovative school in the country by U.S. News and World Report. The ranks 5th in the U.S. for producing the best qualified graduates. Starbucks is proud to join with an academic institution that recognizes the need for innovation to offer more people an opportunity at a quality higher education and the freedom to pursue their passion in any field. So I really like forms that have to do a short question and answer form, especially when you're looking at a lot of programs and you're not sure if it's going to be a good fit for you. One of the places I like to start is just with the most frequently asked questions, because that'll give me a great overview of what the program is within a really, really short time, and then I don't have to dig through the whole website trying to find everything. Okay. So the next opportunity is going to be something a little bit more common as far as when I do a screen share and show you the company's webpage. This is a company that I was at one time considering. When I was in college, I was getting my 4-year degree in business management, and one of my mentors was a CPA, certified public accountant, and he was really encouraging me to go into the banking industry as well as to get my master's degree. So I was looking at opportunities at Wells Fargo, which is a bank. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share, and we're going to pull up their website. And again, so this is what's common. Whoop. Here we go. Okay, so it's a page where it goes over the benefits. So it's about Wells Fargo, careers, and our benefits. And you scroll down and they have a pretty little picture, which is always nice. And here you can see tuition reimbursement. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. I can't click on it for a link, so I'll keep scrolling down the page. And scrolling. And then I see some information right here. Tuition reimbursement. And there's 2 sentences of information. We encourage you to continue your professional development. Wells Fargo will reimburse you for eligible tuition expenses up to $5,000 annually. So if you compare that to some of the other websites that we are looking at, you can tell that there's not very much information. It's kind of like a hook, like, aha, I got you, are you interested? So one of the things that you can look at it is you can be upset because, one, you're like, they didn't give me any information. Like, how do I know if this is what I want to do? Like, you know, what if I'm looking at other institutions? Like, how do I compare what is, and, you know, if I really want to go after this or not? So it's easy to get stuck in that mindset because sometimes you want to know all the information up front before you go forward. And it can be really challenging because, you know, that's kind of how we've been groomed. But one of the things I will say is it's really good because when you go into an interview, they always ask, do you have any questions for us? Like, is there anything you want to know about our company? And they do that because they want to see how interested you are in working for their company. So if you do some research, it's always a good idea to have a couple of questions that you want to ask them. And that's a great question to ask them and say, you know, yeah. Well, they'll say yeah, but yes, you know, I'm interested in if this is going to be a company where I can see myself having a long-term career, and I'm obviously going to be very vested in this company. I want to see if the company is willing to invest in me. You know, does your company offer tuition reimbursement programs? Or if you've done research on the company and you know that they have, then turn around and say, yes, I see on your website that you do offer tuition reimbursement. Can you tell me more about that? And then have a list of questions. You know, how does that work? You know, do I have to pay for the fees up front, and how quickly am I reimbursed? You know, is that something where you have requirements? You know, some companies you have to have an A or else they won't pay. So you want to think about, like, what are your biggest concerns? I might just ask them a couple of questions and then just ask for more information. If you just ask them for general information, some companies will be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's nice. Like, that's good. But when you can ask them specific questions, you know, like, tell me more about this program. Does it only work if I want to get a master's degree? What if I want to get a doctorate or a PhD and continue upward? You know, is there a lifetime maximum amount of money that you will invest in me? So when you start asking questions like that, they're like, wow, like, this person like really sees himself going far in terms of building a career. And they want people to climb the organizational ladder, because if you stick around with the company, then they benefit in the long term, because not only are they educating you, but also for them, they're like, this person understands our operations. And so when they hire people, they don't always know who's going to be more ambitious unless you start asking questions like that. That's pretty much how you set yourself apart in an interview. One of the things that I really like about the banking industry is that I like the subject of money, and it will always be around in one form or another. So, you know, people always talk about, oh yeah, there's dollars, and you know, we might go digital or Bitcoin or this or that. And I'm like, regardless of what the form is, it's basically it's currency. It's something that, you know, whether it's paper or whether it's a piece of plastic that you're sliding across, it's a form. And we're going to need institutions that calculate how does that work. When you're trading value, that's why people trade dollars. I mean, yeah, we could, you know, go back to days of trading pigs and goats, but that wasn't very efficient for the economy. Things moved a lot slower. So, you know, currency and money help things move more quickly. It creates circulation, it creates jobs, and it also can raise the higher standard of living for everyone. So we are going to need institutions to keep track of that. And again, I just think it's a good career opportunity for the long run. One of the things I will say, just because I like to share my opinion on the show and I can't, I just want to go back to the part about Starbucks. I'm a Peet's drinker. I like Peet's coffee. I will drink Starbucks. But from what I have seen, Starbucks does tend to invest more in the community. So even though I prefer Peet's coffee, I do like Starbucks. Like I drink their cold pressed juices. So I think it's important to know, just kind of going back to, you know, PR reasons. A lot of companies just do it because it's a way for people to like their brand. And I'm still very supportive, even when people want to go to Starbucks. You know, it helps the company. When I look at what I like, I kind of have like these bright little stars around Starbucks because they're a do-gooder in my book. So that's why I'm happy to support them, even though I'm not extremely excited about all the products they offer. Okay, so moving on and going forward, let's go ahead and talk about good debt versus bad debt. I know a lot of people have a lot of anxiety about college loans and college debt, like it's the end of the world, and it's not. One of the things that, or the way I look at it, that always kind of cracks me up is, depending upon how much your student loans are, I think the national average about now is about close to $30,000. And I'm like, okay, if I were to run out and buy a house today, you know, the price of houses and the price of a down payment and a mortgage on what I own in the house, I'm going to be in a lot more debt than I am with my student loans. And the difference is, with a college degree, I'm working and I'm earning money, so it's helping me make money. Money's flowing into my pocket. And to me, that's good debt. Versus if I buy a house and I'm living there, I'm paying money out of my pocket every single month. And to me, that's bad debt. Not that it's bad because of how the money's being spent, but I just look at it as money flowing to me is good and money flowing away from me is bad. Just because I think people tend to think of debt as all being bad, and not all debt is bad debt. Now, if I was just running up my credit cards and just buying things, then yeah, that would be bad debt because I wouldn't be doing anything to make me more money. But, you know, education is an investment. It does have a long-term payoff. Statistically, right now, students who have a college education are likely to earn $1 million more over their lifetime. And if you major in certain fields, it can go up as high as 2.5 million. So in the math and science fields. So I've shared that information on previous blog posts, certainly as far as the details of where you can get the statistics on that. So I do encourage you to read the blog post, not just this one, but go back through and scroll through some of the older ones. Also, if you are interested in that topic of money, because you know money's interesting, I would encourage you to read one of my favorite books. I'm a big fan of the Rich Dad Company, and the book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. What the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and the middle class do not. It's by Robert Kiyosaki. It's a really good book. It's pretty entertaining. It's got some great values and information in there, and that's pretty much how helped me change my perspective as far as how I look at debt. So one thing to consider. And then as far as how to handle 3 ways to manage fear so that it does not manage you. The first step is to acknowledge your feelings. And the reason being is I know a lot of people are constantly trying to think positive, and after a while that can be detrimental, because then you're like, positive people, like, why are you so positive? Or that doesn't work, or I tried it. And then you just end up becoming more grouchy. But when you acknowledge your feelings, you're really saying, I'm valid. Like, I feel this way and I'm valid. It's not a bad thing. I just hope you don't get stuck there, because when you get stuck there, then you go into a downward spiral. But when you acknowledge, I feel like, then you can do something about it. And, it's easier to do something about it when you know where you're at. If you're frustrated, then you might take a different course of action if you have anxiety. Being able to communicate these things also helps you move through the process faster, so you can move through the motion on something happier. The second thing you want to do is you want to be willing to accept where you're at and how you're feeling. I know I recently had a conversation with someone who's really, really frustrated because he wasn't as far in his career as he wanted to be. And he was comparing himself to his friend. And I was like, hey, you got to chill out for a moment, because, your friend is an attorney and his father was an attorney. So he has a role model or someone to look up to. He has someone who he can constantly ask for advice about, how do I run my practice, or what do I do when I run into these challenges? And so he had someone there to model for him who's always going to be there for him. It was his dad. So I'm like, you don't have that. Like, you can't be angry about that and hold it against yourself as, I'm not worthy because I'm not at the same level that this other person is. That other person had an advantage that you didn't have. And when you acknowledge what you're at and you're willing to accept, I'm angry because I didn't have that kind of mentor in my life, then it kind of like clears things up and you're like, oh, I don't have a mentor in my life. Maybe I need to go get one. Maybe I need to go do something about that. And so when you start talking about it, you might not always be hearing it, but sometimes when you're talking to a friend over coffee, then that person can point that out and be like, hey, if you're really upset about that, why don't you go do something about it? What can you do? What are you going to do? When are you going to start? So that's why it's good to talk about it and acknowledge it. And then the third thing to do is to tell a new story. So it can be really hard to tell a new story, because sometimes we identify, this is who I am. A lot of times people say, oh, I'm not smart. Like, I always have to spend more time studying than other people. Or I wish I was naturally born smarter, so I had to spend less time on my homework than other people. And for me, I know when I was a kid and I was held back in second grade, it was really easy for me to feel stupid and dumb because I couldn't read. And I ended up developing a belief system that said that kids who are able to read pretty easily, really quickly, must have had parents that spent a lot of time reading to them. Because otherwise, why would they enjoy it so much? Why would they learn so quickly? I have a hard time believing that it's all has to do with how you're born and genetics, and I think environment has a lot to do with it. And as I started making more friends and asking them, well, why do you like to read? I found out that their families would do things like give them money to spend on books. Like, yeah, go pick a favorite author, go, you have an allowance just for books. It wasn't like, this is, we only have a little bit. It was like, we have money designated for your education, and we are willing to pay for and happily encourage you to do anything that's educational, whether it was money to go to camps, whether it was money to go to field trips. They always had extra spending money. And a lot of it just had to do with the way their family prioritized education and made it important for them. So to change that story of, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I got held back in second grade, I'm not a good reader, I'm not good at spelling, I'm not good at grammar, I find it really ironic because I enjoy blogging and I've been doing it for several years. And it kind of cracks me up when people are like, hey, Crystal, can you read this for me? Like, can you check on my spelling or my grammar? And I'm like, whoa, where did that happen? But it took me a really long time to tell a new story. And my story started off with, maybe I'm not as good as other people, but other people had, other advantages or opportunities that I didn't have. And then my story had to change in order for me to continue to grow to, well, I'm old enough that I can do something about it. What can I do? I can buy books, I can go on the internet, I can read, what's within my control. And then I just started moving it up inch by inch, step by step. It wasn't anything big. I just kept making progress. And then now it's kind of turned into an avalanche, like a little ball that rolls down the snow hill. It just got bigger and bigger, and now it's really easy for me to tell a story about, yes, I like to write, I like to read, I'm really good at that now. So this can be challenging, but it's always good when you have a friend. Sometimes talking to yourself isn't always publicly accepted. So definitely talk to a friend. They can help point things out to you, especially if they really, really know you. They're likely to say, you know what, you're really good at this, this, and this. Why don't you focus on what you're good at? And that's a good direction to go. So it's a really good idea to have some really good friends that will give you some really honest feedback that you can talk to open and honestly about. So if you want to know more about the show, then I certainly would encourage you to subscribe. You can go and get my free gift, which just tells you about the when, where, and how of applying for college and transitioning. It's really good for transitioning from high school to college. It's my free gift that I offer, and you will be put on my email list. And what I do is once a week, I email out a blog post as well as an inspirational quote. And occasionally I'll send out some extra bonuses that way. But I encourage you to do that as a good way to stay informed. Also, a lot of these posts, you'll find that some of them you connect to more than others. And it could just be the subject matter or what's going on. But if you want to be able to easily find those resources, it's a great idea for you to receive the emails, and then you can just save them in a folder entitled !The Career Conversationalist. This way you can have easy access to them, especially if you're out and about and you're waiting in line, you're at the doctor's office or something's going on, and you want to follow up, you can go, exactly where it is. You can go to your email, you can open up the file, you can read the headline, and you're like, oh yeah, that's one I want to go back and revisit, especially with all the resources, and make it really, really easy. So instead of you having to go to that website and then go to the home page and trying to figure everything else around, I want to give you the direct link to access the information easily, quickly, and save you time and money. So that's my goal. Other thing I would like to do is just kind of take a quick moment to acknowledge and thank the technology that has been provided by Google's Hangouts and YouTube. This technology is currently available free of charge for people to go ahead and create web shows about things that they're really passionate about and to help other people. So I'm really thankful for this technology and to these companies for allowing me to share this information. So I want to thank you for your time and let you know about what is in store for next week. I'm pretty excited. And where's the screen share page? Okay, hold on. I know, it's taking me a minute. I'm pretty much still learning how to handle this new format. There's a lot of pieces to it, and I am currently enrolled in a program to help me smooth some of these things out so that the program goes a lot easier going forward in the future. And I currently do not see what I'm looking for. Oh no. I just posted it before this show. Okay. Well, I don't see it, so I don't want you hanging around. I know you've got a lot of busy things to do, so I don't want to take up your time. But I will just say that next week is a really, really good episode, and it's about how do you gain real-world experience while you're in college. So I really appreciate everybody who's been talking to me, giving me their feedback and letting me interview you. That's what's generating the content and how I'm picking the topics and what to share on each weekly hangout. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll look forward to our paths crossing again soon. Take care.